32 of the world's smartest animals. Though measuring animal intelligence is tricky, some animals show remarkable cognitive abilities that may rival our own. Measuring animal intelligence is tricky. As humans, we can only compare the smarts of other creatures with our own, an inherently biased benchmark. Asking which species is smarter is like asking if a hammer is a better tool than a screwdriver. Brian Hare, founder and director of Duke University's Canine Cognition Center, told PBS in 2018. Each tool is designed for a specific problem, so of course it depends on the problem we are trying to solve. Scientists don't have a standard definition or test for intelligence. Some look at tool use, brain-to-body ratios, brain sizes, problem-solving abilities, or self-awareness, but whether these measures really capture animal intellect is debatable. Still, some animals show remarkable cognitive abilities that sometimes rival our own. Here are 32 of the smartest animals on the planet. Chimpanzees, pan troglodytes, and bonobos, pan paniscus, are Homo sapiens' closest relatives. Both share almost 99% of our DNA and are widely considered some of the brightest creatures in the animal kingdom. In 1960, chimps became the first non-human animals to be documented using tools, an ability scientists previously thought was unique to humans. Further research has uncovered complex social lives, a range of human-like emotions, and metacognition, or the ability to think about thinking. In certain brain and memory games, scientists discovered that chimpanzees actually outperform humans, according to a study published in the journal Nature in 2014. Researchers have even taught chimpanzees to use American Sign Language. Washoe, the first non-human primate to learn to sign, learned 350 signs before she died in 2007. Her adoptive son, Lulis, learned about 50 signs entirely from Washoe and other signing chimps. Subsequent research challenged whether chimpanzees can actually combine words to create new ideas or whether they simply memorize signs. Dolphins are so smart that many consider them the second most intelligent creatures on Earth. These cetaceans have complex social lives, understand abstract concepts, use tools, solve problems, show sophisticated emotions, and have an incredibly high brain-to-body ratio, about the same as Homo habilis, an archaic human species. Studies have also shown that bottlenose dolphins, Tursiops truncatus, can recognize themselves in a mirror and may be capable of metacognition. Like dogs, dolphins can learn commands from humans. These creatures are so good at communicating with us that back in the 1960s, researchers believed we might even learn to speak to them by giving them LSD. While these tests failed, researchers have continued attempting to decode dolphin clicks and whistles. In 2013, scientists discovered that dolphins identify each other by unique names, and that they can remember these names for at least 2 decades. The U.S. Navy has trained both dolphins and sea lions to detect trespassers in forbidden areas like piers, harbors, and ship channels. Dolphins have also been used to detect unexploded underwater mines, bonobos. Like their chimpanzee cousins, bonobos, pan paniscus, have incredible mental prowess. Some researchers think these primates, along with chimps and orangutans, have a cognitive ability known as theory of mind. Creatures with theory of mind understand that other beings think differently and have different beliefs and desires. Bonobos are good problem solvers and adept at solving tasks that require an understanding of social causality. Research has suggested that bonobos and chimpanzees can remember familiar faces after at least 26 years of separation. Unlike chimps and humans, bonobos have never been documented killing each other. Male bonobos engage in frequent squabbling, but their fighting is usually less intense than that of their great ape relatives. Research has suggested that bonobos are tolerant of outsiders, will readily share food, but not toys or tools, and solve conflicts through sex. Sperm whales. The sperm whale, Physeter macrocephalus, has the biggest brain of any animal on Earth today, with an average weight of 17 pounds, 7.8 kilograms. Though scientists have long argued whether brain size and even brain-to-body ratio is a good indicator of high intelligence, many agree that sperm whales are some of the smartest creatures in the ocean. Sperm whales form tight-knit family groups with distinct cultures. To communicate with one another, the whales produce patterns of clicks called codas. These codas differ from group to group, similar to dialects in human language. Sperm whales excel at learning from one another. In the 19th century, they were prime targets for whalers, but research suggests these creatures taught each other how to avoid attacks. Pigeons. Pigeons aren't as bird-brained as they may appear. They can count, recognize words, and have an impressive memory and excellent vision. Pigeons can also differentiate categories of objects. In 2015, scientists taught pigeons to sort 128 images into 16 categories. When presented with new images from the categories, the pigeons could still sort them correctly. Pigeons can also recognize themselves in a mirror. In an unusual study in 1995, researchers taught pigeons to discriminate between the artwork of Monet and Picasso. After some training, the birds were presented with a new-to-them piece of art and were able to determine which artist had painted it. The pigeons were then further trained to distinguish between Monet, Cézanne, and Renoir pieces, and then between Picasso, Braque, and Matisse paintings. And in a 2015 study, researchers discovered that pigeons could be trained to detect cancer in breast pathology images. During World War II, before guidance technology systems were created to aim missiles, experimental psychologist B.F. Skinner taught pigeons to accurately guide missiles to a target. The system known as Project Pigeon proved incredibly successful, but it was shut down before it could be put to use. Elephants. Elephants have the largest brains of any land animal. These giants have extraordinary memory, high social intelligence, excellent problem-solving abilities, and complex emotions. In a 2014 study published in the journal PNAS, researchers discovered that African elephants, Loxodonta africana, could identify the voices of the most threatening humans based on their ethnicity, gender, and age. Elephants are widely recognized as some of the world's most empathic creatures. They live in tight-knit family groups and have been recorded helping each other in distress and grieving for their dead. Elephants use tools and complete tasks, and they even understand when their own bodies hinder them from solving problems. Like the mirror test, which elephants have also passed, this may be an indication of self-understanding, some researchers say. Octopuses researchers think common octopuses have an impressive 500 million neurons in their nervous systems, about as many as a dog. They have the largest brain-to-body ratio of any invertebrate. These cephalopods have a reputation for being exceptionally talented escape artists and puzzle solvers. They can unscrew jars from the inside, untie knots, use tools, recognize individual humans, and play pranks. When hunting, California two-spot octopuses, octopus bimaculoids, can be quite calculated. Their arms work together in specific choreographed motions that differ depending on which animals they're going after. While octopuses are more genetically similar to other mollusks, like squid and cuttlefish, than to humans, we do have some genetic similarities. Both humans and octopuses have an abundance of jumping genes, DNA sequences that move from one location in the genome to another. Interestingly, octopuses have more protein encoding genes than humans do, over 33,000 compared with our 20,500. Rats get a bad rap, especially in densely populated cities. These creatures are so reviled that in 2023, New York City Mayor Eric Adams appointed the city's first-ever rat czar to eliminate the rodents. While it's true that rats can transmit pathogens, including hantavirus, Rickettsia typhi, which causes murine typhus, Spirillum minus and Streptobacillus moniliformis, which cause rat bite fever, and Salmonella, to humans, rats are actually clean, intelligent creatures. They groom even more frequently and thoroughly than cats. Dr. Jennifer Graham, a veterinarian at the Henry and Lois Foster Hospital for Small Animals, said in a 2020 interview, "Rats can learn tricks, solve puzzles, feel empathy, rescue friends in need, and even have an imagination." In a 2014 test of rat learning and cognition, researchers found that rats can even outperform humans in implicit category-based generalization, or the ability to apply certain learned patterns to new sets of information. Research published in the journal Current Biology in 2007 suggested that rats may be among the few non-primates capable of metacognition.
Orangutans, all great apes, have advanced mental capabilities, and orangutans, Pongo, are no exception.
These apes are excellent learners. An orangutan named Chantek became one of the first apes to learn sign language, and he even invented signs of his own. Chantek was raised by an anthropologist and learned to clean his room, use the toilet, play games, and paint. A 2018 study in the journal Science suggested that orangutans are capable of displaced reference, the ability to reference things not happening in the present. In their study, researchers disguised themselves as big cat predators and watched how orangutan mothers with young would respond. The scientists reported that after spotting a predator, the orangutan mothers ushered their young to safety but waited to sound the alarm until after the danger had passed. There was no reason for orangutan females to vocalize after a predator model was removed, but they did so nonetheless, researchers wrote. They hypothesized that the orangutans were teaching their young that they had been in danger. Postponing behavior in time and space inherently expresses a role of high cognitive processing of the stimulus and general intelligence, the researchers said. Crows and other corvids are some of the most intelligent birds on Earth, and their mental prowess may even rival that of some primates. These animals have been documented remembering human faces, creating and using tools, making statistical inferences, and solving puzzles. Like some primates, some crow species can recognize themselves in a mirror. Crows have about the same number of tightly packed neurons in their brains, 1.5 billion, as some monkeys do. Researchers have found that New Caledonian crows, Corvus moneduloides, rival 5 to 7-year-old children in their causal reasoning. To test this, scientists often use an experiment known as the Aesop's fable paradigm, in which subjects drop stones into water tubes to displace the water and reach floating treats. Not only did the crows successfully obtain their treats, they also understood that dropping heavy objects displaced more water than floating ones did. In a 21-22 study in the journal Science Advances, scientists suggested that crows are capable of recursion, or embedding structures within similar structures. In linguistics, for example, the phrase "the cat chased" could be embedded in the sentence "the mouse ate cheese" to form a new sentence. The mouse the cat chased ate cheese. Some researchers have argued that recursion is unique to human language, but some studies have suggested that European starlings, Sturnus vulgaris, rhesus macaques, Macaca mulatta, and crows understand this concept. African gray parrots, Psittacus erythacus, also rank among the world's smartest birds. These parrots can outperform 5-year-old children in certain cognitive tests and help other birds in need. In 2005, researchers working with a 28-year-old African gray parrot named Alex discovered that he might understand the concept of zero, which human children typically don't grasp until age 3 or 4. Chimpanzees and squirrel monkeys also show some understanding of the concept, but Alex was the first bird to show this ability, though his interpretation of zero may be different from humans. It seems likely that these skills are based on simpler cognitive abilities they need for survival, such as recognition of more versus less. Irene Pepperberg, lead researcher and a comparative psychologist and cognitive scientist, said in a statement at the time, "Dogs, Homo sapiens' best friend. Dogs, Canis lupus familiaris, can read human social and communication cues, learn words, feel jealousy, and smell when humans are stressed or sick." Researchers have compared the mental power of dogs to that of 2-year-old children, though cognitive ability varies among breeds and individuals. Per the American Kennel Club, the 5 smartest breeds are the Border Collie, Poodle, German Shepherd, Golden Retriever, and Doberman Pinscher. The world's smartest dog, Chaser, learned more than 1,000 nouns and could understand categories, such as balls and adjectives, like bigger. Bees may be the world's smartest insects. They can count, communicate with one another, solve mazes, recognize human faces, and learn. Researchers even discovered that bees have distinct personalities and emotional lives, but these animals see the world much differently than we do, making it hard to discern exactly what's going on in their tiny brains. For example, bees can see ultraviolet and polarized light, which helps them navigate and forage for food. Researchers have also discovered that bumblebees can sense electrical fields in the air, an ability scientists once thought was unique to animals that navigate through the water. In 2017, scientists found that bumblebees could be trained to use a simple tool to gain a food reward. 3 years later, researchers reported the first observed use of tools in wild honeybees, Apis cerana, after witnessing them using animal feces to defend their colonies against giant hornets. Gorillas, the famed gorilla. Coco was one of only a few animals to use a form of sign language to communicate with humans. She mastered more than 1,000 modified American Sign Language signs and understood more than 2,000 spoken words. Before her death in 2018, Coco formed deep bonds with her human caretaker Penny, who taught her how to sign. Like other great apes, gorillas use tools, can solve problems, and have good memories. Research published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society B in 2019